Hey, welcome back to Ansible AWX series. In our previous video, if you remember from the AWX dashboard, we have added the credentials, then updated the private key for the GitLab interactions, and the corresponding public key was updated on the GitLab. And following that, we created a new project and specified the GitLab repository path and utilizing the GitLab private key as the source control credentials for a secure authentication. So this led to a successful synchronization with the GitLab repository, and we were able to retrieve the playbook from the template section successfully. So far this looks good. I believe you are able to follow this. So in today's video, we will set up a network topology on the EventG platform with a few devices to start and learn how to configure and run a playbook from the AWX step by step. So this is going to be an interesting tutorial. So let's get started. Alright, so here I'm on the EventG UI where we can quickly set up network topology for testing. So to start with, let's create a topology. First, let's click on the new labs. We'll give a topology name. So I'll give as topology 1 and save it. This will open up a window where we can add the nodes and the network details. So for this demonstration, let's add a virtual router. And I'll give some icon information here. And we'll add 2 network devices here. And we'll also add one more switch, a virtual switch for the management connectivity. And we also need a network where we can connect to the internet and outside the world, right? So we have 2 routers, 1 switch for the management, and a cloud for the outside connectivity. So let's do the cabling here. We'll connect gig0/0 with the management. Let's for the same name gig0/1 for the second one. Then we'll connect to this to any port. So we'll have a simple lab to get started. So to start the lab, we can select all the nodes, then click on Start Selected. It takes a minute or so to get the device booted up. So I'll pause this video while that is happening. Just asking if you want to start the initial configuration via dialog. No. We want to add the required configurations once we get an access to the device. Right, so we got the second device booted up. So what we need to do here is we need to configure few basic information to get the access from the management platform, right? Got a script ready here. So it is going to configure host name, then set a domain name, then enable the SSH versions, then enable the RSA token, right? So it will ask what is the key length you want to put. It is going to be 2048. I want to be secure as much possible we can. Then we'll put a username and password. This will be used for accessing, doing a telnet, doing an SSH from the remote host. We can put these credentials, then transport input SSH, then finally enable the ports, right? So and the port we are connected to the management, we are going to enable DHCP function. So that will get the IP address from the network from the cloud directly. So similarly, we'll configure the second device. Let's go to configuration T. I'm going to put VIOS 2 2048 as a key length, and we have the SSH 2.0 enabled. We'll set the username and password, then put the transport input SSH. Finally activate all the ports and enable the DHCP function. Alright, so we got the IP address for the first device, which is 104. Right, so the second device IP address is 109 and the first one is 104. Next, what we are going to do here is that we need to switch the AWX dashboard, get this device over there, and make sure that AWX have the enough details to interact with this one. So I'll show you how to do this step by step. So on the dashboard, let's log into the dashboard. We have set up credentials and projects, and this looks still working. And what we need to do here today is to add inventory first, right? We'll add a new inventory. So let's add Cisco routers. Let's see inventory name. Then here you can provide a description, then organization details, all those things. But important things what we need to put here is the connection type. So here it is Ansible connection, which is going to be network_CLI. The other parameter we need to set here is the Ansible network OS. It's going to be iOS. We have only Cisco routers which is running on iOS platform. That's it on the inventory part. Let's save this one. So once the inventory is created, we have few additional tabs here. You can set a group, you can add host, and all those things. Let's create a new group. When you talk about this group should be matching with whatever we have set on the playbook. So here, if you go to the playbook here, we have a group called routers. So I'm going to set the same group over here. Then we don't need to specify anything on the group parameters here, because we already defined the connections and the OS on the globally. Let's save this one. Now we can add the host under this group. You can add existing host, or you can add a new host. So I'm going to add a new host here. Our host name is vios1 for the first device. Then you can mention Ansible _ host, which is 192.168.0.104. Let's copy this one. Let's save. Let's add one more host. Cisco routers, groups. So add one more host. You can add, this is 109 and going to be vios2. Right, so now you can see the host section, what and all devices we have added here, which is part of Cisco router inventory. So that's about the inventory part, how we can build the inventory. This is equivalent to inventory file what we create on the Ansible core. Let's move forward to the next part, where we'll be adding the credentials, right? So we added the credentials for GitLab private key on our previous video. We'll add one more key here. So this would be EVG device login, and you can give a descriptions. Here you can select machine because we are going to authenticate with Cisco devices, and you can give whatever user you have configured and the password you have set when you're doing the initial configurations. It also allows the SSH based key. You can put the private key over here, or you can have signed SSH certificate. You can also allow to give, if you, let's say if you have a separate password for privilege, then you can also set here. So let's save this one here, and we have the device login set. So next is the project. We have covered this in length in the last video, so I don't want to revisit on this. So basically we added a repository for retrieving the playbook from the GitLab, and you can just sync it once to see if you have the playbook available. Then you will see the so we have successful authentication with the GitLab and got the playbooks. Next, what we have to do is to create a template and define all the parameters we have set for the projects, credentials and the inventories. Let's see how to do this. We briefly touched upon the template on the last video. Click on create new template. Give a template name, demo project 1. So here you can give what is a job type. You can either run it, or you want to check like syntax check and all those things. We can do a check. So I'll select run here. Then we can choose the inventory. So we just create an inventory called Cisco routers. Select that one. Then the project, which is GitLab demo project. Then it will automatically download the playbooks available on this project. So we have demo playbook.yml, which is a symbol playbook where it runs show versions on the group against the routers, then print that results as an output variable. Then we can go ahead and choose the credentials here. This credential is for the device login. So we have one created called EVG net login. Then we have few additional parameters we can set for limit, verbosity, which is like, if you need additional login details, if the playbook is not running, so that you want to debug the logs, we can choose. And then the job slicing, then a few other details you have here. So we'll revisit on this as we build our knowledge on AWX, but right now we have all the important parameters required for the template to run. So just save this template. Once the template is saved, you can see you have the demo project 1, and you can launch this template by clicking this icon, and it is going to run the template. So it will give all the information about the project, what we have set, then launch, and waiting for the job output to come. So we have the result here. It seems the execution failed by stating that there is some misspelling on the collections or incorrect module path. So it's basically AWS couldn't recognize a module called iOS command, and this is an expected error because we need to have few additional details like roles, collections updated on our playbooks. So I'm going to cover that on that subsequent video, so stay tuned for that. So to summarize, we have covered how to create a virtual lab on EVG and set up a management access by configuring few lines on the network devices. So then we added those device details on the AWS inventory and set up a credential for AWS authentications with the devices from the event Jeep. Then we configured a job template to tie those details like credentials, inventory, project playbooks, etc. I hope this is informative. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video.